Nail or beauty school was just the beginning, right? What on earth do you do now? Welcome to the Salon Success Podcast with Monaco Nail Academy. Our topics stretch beyond nails and into all things salon related, business, marketing, and social media, and at the very least hits you with real, honest stories about our experiences. This isn't school, this is real life, real business, and really freaking hard work. Before we get started wherever you are, thumbs up, tag a friend in the comments, or hit that share button and support small business.
Hey guys, it's Alicia here from Monaco Nail Academy, and today I'm joined by Crystal.
Hi.
By Penny.
Hello.
And by Moose.
Hi.
And just a reminder before we get started to use my code Crystal's Nails, which is spelled CHRISTELSNAILS for 10% off all course costs. I get a kickback from these enrollments, and they're how we support the production of the podcast.
You can also use my code MOMOCAT for 10% off any Monaco course.
And if you are interested in in-person training and you happen to be in Auckland, more specifically West Auckland, you can head to monaco.ac.nz/Alicia for in-person training courses. Okay, so how has everyone's week been? What's the highlight of everyone's week been?
Highlight of my week was getting a new regular mobile client, although I did back into the wall when I was arriving there. So
Like her wall?
So she's at a rest home, and like the fence wall, it's like a brick wall, and it was a lot closer than it looked in my mirror.
That's amazing. Okay,
Yeah.
will she know, or is it
No,
rest
she'll
home
have
from-
no idea.
Amazing.
Well, that's all that matters then, and congratulations on having a new regular client. That's
Thank
awesome.
you.
How about you, Mika?
Especially being in a rest home, like, that could mean a lot more regular clients.
Yeah.
Definitely.
One time with, like, this was so many years ago, but with a brand new mobile client, I had this lady book in, and she was from Remuera, which, for those who aren't local to us, is a very affluent area, and she had a very Remuera house. She was rich, and she had had a knee replacement. She couldn't leave like the house for whatever period of time, and she needed a backfill, and she found me. She booked me in. I took my whole mobile setup out there to her very rich house with her very rich things, did her backfill across the corner of her dining table because, like I said, this was a very long time ago. I don't even think you could have got a mobile table if you wanted one. And when I went to pack up, my wipes had soaked through the towel we were working on and had ruined the varnish on her very expensive dining table.
Oh, no.
She literally was like, "Oh, it's fine, don't even worry about it." And I just tried not to. I still feel like vomiting if I think about it right now.
It's my worst nightmare.
Yeah. I think that, I mean, at least she was, telling you not to worry about it, but oh my gosh, yeah, that would keep me up at night.
Well, I don't know if it's just that she didn't seem like a very panicky person because, like, she was that sort of person you can imagine who just, like, has an airs about her, like as if nothing phases her, and she's like, "I'll just pay someone to fix it." Yeah. I don't know if it was that or if she was, like, quietly panicking, like, because that's what I would do. If someone breaks my shit, I'm like, "Okay," and then I realized that I should have actually, like, stood up for myself or required compensation when they've left.
We all make mistakes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but imagine if she had wanted me to pay for the whole table to be revarnished or something.
That often nails for a lifetime.
That I would die. I just got up shop.
Well, how about you, Penny? What has been the highlight of your week?
I don't know what the highlight of my week was. Everything is blurring into one because we're recording this before Christmas, but you guys are listening to it after Christmas. And so we're deep in, like, the pre-Christmas, like, my tree just went up. Like, we are in that part, which will, when you're listening to this in January, it will give you, like, triggers of pseudo PTSD. I don't even know. like I'm in such a funk, like not in like a negative, like I've got no highlight, like not like that, just like I don't even know what, like it is 9:20 in the morning and my alarm went off at 4 so I could get enough admin done so that I don't get behind before I record a podcast and do clients. And like a lovely client gifted me a whole trailer load of flaxes and stuff. I guess that's a highlight, but it's not salon related. Gifted me a trailer load of flaxes and stuff, but I didn't realize it was a trailer load that was coming. And she just said she'd dug out some stuff and did I want some? I was like, yeah, okay. And then her husband turned up with a trailer. And then I have back issues. And I got 7 of them in the ground. And then I messaged her and I was like, my back's not letting me put more of these in. And I just didn't realize how many there were, but I don't want them to go to waste or dry out and die. So like, do you want them back and give them to someone else? Or like, I don't know, but I physically can't, like I cannot ruin my back today in the middle of peak season. And then this lovely lady is now currently in my backyard planting them for me. Wouldn't take no for an answer. And it's like, okay, I'll be there in the morning and I'll do it. And I was like, no, you can't. No, you have enough of your own jobs to do. And she's like, it won't even take me very long. And then I was like, okay, the shade.
Aw, that's beautiful. Some people are just so nice, but that also shows something about you, right? You treat people the way that you want to be treated.
Yeah, but because here's the thing, I wouldn't do that for her. I don't even know how to like justify that and make myself sound like a better person. But like, there's lots of things I would do for people, but I just wouldn't. It's not on my priority list. And it frustrated me. This sounds so negative. It just frustrated me though that she's like probably 70 and she's like, it won't take me long. Like but she's like, when I say probably, it's because she has the mobility of someone much younger, but I think she's older. She's retired. She runs rental properties and stuff. It's not like she does nothing. She works real hard, but like, why do I have such limited mobility that a 70-year-old has to come and plant for me?
That's frustrating.
Anyways, the highlight of my week is going to be that I am about to make a shit ton of money because we're in the Christmas season. So that's the highlight of my week, because everything else sounds miserable. And honestly, I just can't actually function enough to think, to work out what even happened, let alone what the good part was. It hasn't been terrible.
Fair enough. It is a busy time of year for especially nail techs, and especially someone like Penny who is managing nails and an entire company.
Yeah, and the Airbnbs. And like everything goes crazy. So like I've got 3 separate Airbnb accommodation options, the Salon, Monaco, and then like even my hobbies ramp up at this time of year because the garden is like growing extra. Everything wants my attention. Can't have it though.
Can't do everything at once, unfortunately.
No. But I tell you one thing that is real good is that we planned ahead and we've recorded ahead, so that now this is the only episode where you'll hear me stressed because we don't need to record another episode until after the silly season because we've recorded ahead.
Good planning.
Good planning. And how about you, Moose?
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat, not quite as much. I don't have quite as much on, but I do have a few like nail things happening that I'm excited about, but also have some, I don't know, like I sometimes look at especially like complex nail art sets and things like that, and like it looks really fun, but there's something that I just look at it and it looks really complex and I just go, eek, I can't do it. But I'm working on a set this week, and nail art is actually my favorite, even though it's sometimes a little bit overwhelming. So that's probably my highlight for the week, I think.
Yeah, we all get hit with complex nail art at this time of year, and it can be really daunting, right? I know what you're saying, Moose. Sometimes a client shows you a picture and you go, oh my gosh.
Where do I start?
I can do that. But it's also an awesome time of year to push our boundaries and get out of our comfort zones and learn a lot more.
Yeah, that's so true, actually. You don't necessarily always have the the motivation during the rest of the year, because a lot of people just want plain things. But yeah, holidays bring the fun.
I think
Yeah.
I'm the opposite, and I don't know if it's just because of where I'm at, like salon wise, but in the middle of winter, I am way more likely to be like, if someone walks in, they go, here's something really complicated. I'm like, okay, cool. I have a gap after you so I can take my time and work it out. Or they say, just do what you want to do. And I have the brain capacity to pull up a folder of inspo and find something to do. Whereas this time of year, being December at time of recording, if someone says like, oh, I've got this like complicated design, I'm like, no, I can't. Either because I've got someone immediately after you and 7 people after them, and so I don't have time to run behind, or I've just done 12 people, you're last of the day, and I can't even hold a conversation, let alone try and pull that out of the bag. So yeah, interesting, because I think I'm the exact opposite, that at this time of year, I'm like, give me all the plain colors. And then when it quiets down a bit, I will change back to going, I want to do something fun.
I think I like preach to my regular clients when they start booking their Christmas appointments. I'm like, make sure you add on your art time to your booking, because otherwise it's not going to happen.
Yeah, I feel like getting quite organized with it actually does help like so much with that.
Yeah. And I think it is standing your ground as well. Like a couple years ago, someone came in and they were like, I really want this set of nail art, but it's full Christmas rush. They haven't booked for it. I would always try to do it for them. Whereas now it's like, you know what? Honestly, you didn't book for it. I don't have the time. I'm going to do a much better job if I'm not rushing. And I think if you explain that, most people are quite understanding. All right, the highlight of my week. I haven't had much time to think about anything this week, to be honest with you.
Once again, you are forgetting the most important thing that's happened since recording.
Oh, right. Sorry.
What the worst part is, though, that I think this is either what's really funny is, so there's a slight.
Talked about it in that last episode with Crystal. We talked about getting a commercial space.
Yeah,
Well,
you
this
talked
is
about going and looking for one, and now
But-
you've got one.
No, but this is the worst part, is that the episode that we recorded where you talk about potentially getting a commercial space goes out the week before this one. And so on the one hand, people will be like, what a quick turnaround. And then on the other hand, it was a quick turnaround, because let me tell you that because of the timings of the Cuticle Begone episode, we recorded a couple of episodes out of sync. So the episode that you guys just heard last week in real life, we actually recorded quite a while ago to be able to stay in our posting schedule. And so you might think, oh, well, okay, now that I understand that, it actually wasn't such a quick turnaround. But no, in the episode you guys heard in real life last week, Alicia was like, oh, I think I want a commercial space. And I was like, no, you don't. But here's all the reasons why not. Go on, go and do it anyway. And she was like, oh, I'm just going to go have a look and see what happens. And then, let me tell you, folks, listeners, and people of the podcast, 4 days later, she sends me a message. So don't be mad, but I got a commercial space. It wasn't don't be mad. It was like, don't be angry at me or don't like something. But yeah, 4 days.
It is pretty fast.
It was a very, very quick turnaround. I went for a drive, saw a spot. I was like, this is nice. Called the number. And I was like in my pajamas, like I was wearing track pants and stuff. And she goes, are you outside? And I was like, well, yeah, that's how I got your number. And she was like, wait there, I'll be 5 minutes. And I was like, oh, okay. She came down and she gave me a tour, and I went, oh, I can see the vision. And then she sent me all the details later that evening, and we went over it all. And much, very happily for Penny, we figured out we did not need a loan. And it was 3 days later we shook hands. So And then it was the following week we quickly bought all the furniture and moved it all in.
Oh,
So
congrats.
very quick process, but it's wonderful. So we've got our main section is nails upstairs. We have got a training area with all our beautiful Monaco signage up. And then downstairs, we have another tattooist joining us in the new year, and then I've got my tattoo room downstairs as well. Hopefully we can expand it as the time moves on to, I don't really know, more services or get more people in, but for now we're just rolling with it and going with the flow.
Are they coming on as a contractor?
Their contractors, another win for Penny. So for those of you who didn't chip into that episode, Penny asked me, do you want employees or contractors? And I said employees, and she went, are you fucking insane? So I
You
thought
were
about it.
adamant on employees at the start.
I was, and that's because I really wanted a little bit more control so that when the team aren't doing nails, they are doing other things for me. And then Penny was like, why don't you just pay them as a PAYE on top of their contracting? And I was just like, wow, why did my brain never go there? So that's kind of the situation at the moment. So we have Rachel, who is my lovely mother, who is training. So she is now doing training sets in here and working. And then I have my PA, Heidi, who is helping me out with reception and that sort of thing. And then when she finishes up at her job at the end of the year, she's also going to be training to be an nail technician through the MATP system. So it's all go.
Exciting.
That's very
Yeah.
exciting.
Well, okay, so I think that this kind of segs into one of the like little notes that I had, because we've been trying to do our episodes a little bit more conversation flow. We'll go back to doing topics at some point, but I just have a bunch of little topics that haven't been used up. But I do think this kind of segs into one of them, which what I wrote down was Pied Piper doesn't exist. And what it was from is from a few conversations, honestly, over like years of time. But then there was like one conversation that made me think like, yes, we should talk about this. But the idea was, so my first ever trainee, which I've spoken about before, she was my friend's mum. She really wanted to do nails. She was telling her kids that nails was her like retirement plan. Her whole plan was that she was going to become a nail tech, work doing nails part-time, be able to retire early and just fund her retirement with part-time nails, and like that was her whole plan. However, she then didn't do anything to get clients, and within a few months her stuff was packed up in a box and like taking up space in the hallway, and she'd be like, well, I'll get it out when I need it. And then a couple months after that, it's now in the attic, and like then she just never ever did clients. And I've often used her as an example of saying like, it's like some people, and I see this regularly throughout all the years of Monaco, some people think that their certificate is going to act like the Pied Piper, and all they have to do is get the certificate on the wall and clients are going to just flow into in the door. They don't have to do anything. And the reason I think it segues well is because Alicia is a good example of making things happen. Like, yeah, okay, cool. Like we had a chat about the good and the bad parts of her ideas, but only because I had tried them all. And so, yeah, like there's still something to be said for going out and getting it done and not making an excuse for it, right? So the thing that triggered this note on here was talking to someone who had asked me for advice. I had given them advice. And then when I checked in with them a bit later, and this is not someone any of you guys know, when I checked in with them later, they were like, oh, nothing's happened. I'm feeling really deflated. Like, I just don't have any clients, blah, 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 blah. And then I went back and I said, okay, cool. So like, what of these things did you do? And they were like, well, I put like 2 posts on Instagram, which was not one of the things I told them to do. And I just haven't had time to do anything else. And I was like, head in hands. Okay, you can't be deflated if you haven't done anything. And
Yeah.
like, I get so frustrated with this because this is a very, very common thing. Like, if someone wants to take full accountability for the fact that they haven't done anything, great. Okay, cool. Like, you're behind on this because life started lifing, great. But like, well, not great, but you know what I mean? Or like, actually, it just pissed down with rain all week and you couldn't be bothered, great. Your kid's sick, cool. Like, I can understand if you say, I haven't done it because this. But don't tell me that you're deflated and depressed that you don't have clients when you didn't do anything to get them. And like, yes, I'm ranting, whatever. But like, this person had done the client magnet, monaco.ac.nz/magnet, which is free avatar training to help direct your marketing. And then when I said, cool, what from all of that, what are you going to do? Their answer was to put a flyer up. And for anyone who has done the client magnet, that's literally the opposite of what we teach. And they had just done the client magnet. The reason being that the client magnet teaches you how to specifically target your marketing, and a flyer is about the least targeted way that you can market anything because it is just, you don't even know who you're giving it to. So yeah, so I thought we could chat about that and our experiences with that a little bit rather than me just ranting about it, because it is something that I think is really common where people, like, I'm thinking there's people listening to this who haven't signed up for any course yet who are thinking about being nail techs, and honestly, I just want to make sure that people know that like certificates are not Pied Pipers.
Totally. And I think it brings it back to that. I believe you've talked about it before, don't remember when, but when you're meant to be working, but you don't have any clients, how are you going to spend that time to make yourself money in the future? So, we've just moved into a new space. I've taken on more people, and suddenly we've gone from really busy to just steady, which is fine. So what I'm doing in that spare time is going, okay, well, how can I make the space look more appealing? What signage do we need to put up so people see it when they're driving past? What Instagram and Facebook ads do we need to put out there? Can we be, making or organizing any events that will bring people through the door, not just necessarily for that one day, but hopefully as a returning client? And I think you really have to be careful about how you market things to exactly attract your dream avatar.
Yeah, you're referencing hustle time hours from How to Set Your Prices, which is one of our Salon Success courses. With the concept being that you set what you would make your regular hours. And if you don't want to have set hours, I don't have set hours, but I have like a number of hours that I would work, but a lot of you will have set hours. I definitely did at the start. But so if you have set hours where you're like, my hours are going to be 10 till 1 on Tuesday and 8 till 4 on Wednesday, whatever, if you're not with a client, you should be working on your business or getting like queen bee clients, which we've talked about before and stuff like that. But yeah, the idea that you should be, their hustle hours, you set them as being when you would work. Why aren't you working?
Exactly. And yeah, that's exactly where it's from. I remember doing that actually when I was still working for someone else, doing that module and going, okay, this is, you can start out working for someone else or doing your thing, but if you are interested in branching out in the future, there's no good time to start. Just start now, start learning about what you can do. And I remember sitting there and going, oh my gosh, that's going to stick with me forever. Why am I sitting watching TV when I don't have clients, when I could be doing much more productive things to get them through the door rather than just waiting? Because let's be real, they're not going to come, or not many are going to come.
No.
Well, I think that, oh, sorry.
No, you do.
I think that's like also kind of an interesting thing about it is like you do actually have to practice learning how to get clients too. And like if you don't actually do it, then when you do start to do it, you actually won't have any experience with it. But if you start to do it earlier, then I found that like actually quite helpful, because I started my like Instagram before I was actually looking for clients, and I found that really helpful because that helped me actually understand marketing a bit more before I necessarily needed it. And so I found that quite helpful to do.
And how have you gone with, obviously you have just recently opened your home space and got it all set up properly. How have you found, using your Instagram before you even got started? Has that helped bring clients already through the door for you?
Yeah, it definitely has. I definitely have more people interested than I think I would have otherwise. Even just like putting out my name and having people actually see me occasionally. And like having somewhere to send people, like if I talk to someone in real life and they ask about my nails, I have somewhere to send them so that they can, learn more about me and what I do and stuff. But yeah, it's definitely been really helpful to do that.
That's awesome. Well done.
People are so hung up on being perfect before they do anything, I think. Like, it's very, like, how you were saying, Moose, that I can't remember how you worded it. How you were saying, Moose, that, like, it's almost practice. Like, people are so afraid to put themselves out there for fear of failure, which I can understand. I have that too. I just also have had it for so long that I understand that it isn't real. But like, yeah, people are so afraid of failing or feeling like they failed or feeling like they weren't good enough. Like, we have a pre-training survey that new enrollees fill out when they sign up with Monaco, and it asks what their biggest concern is, and 90% of them are failing or not being good enough. Probably 95% of them. Like, it's almost, you can just predict and like know what it's going to say. But yeah, people will be like, well, I'm not good enough to offer that yet. I'm not set up enough. My space isn't nice enough. Like, any excuse, and they are excuses, and I will stand by that till the day I die, because the number of places that I have done nails that were absolute shit heaps or unprofessional or whatever, but I did it and I got the practice, and then maybe that person never came back again. Maybe they were super tolerant and they did come back again, but 18 years later, this is how I pay my bills. And you're right, Moose, like, you have to actually be doing it and not doing it quote unquote well enough at the start or in the nicest space or whatever, so that then you are good when those people turn up to book in and become new mobile regulars like Crystal's got.
Yeah, totally. I also think that, like, if you kind of get started, if you give yourself a little bit of momentum, it's way easier to keep going. And it's also harder to look at things and feel like bad about yourself, because at least you're like putting in the work.
And we've got Crystal here who's just getting started, and she has been reaching out to local cafes, is that correct?
And businesses in general, yep.
And she's been doing mobile services, which is awesome, because totally I remember you saying, you weren't completely happy with your home space, but it is set up and there is a space to do it. Going around and doing these mobile jobs, if someone really likes what you do, you can go, that's great. I have got space to do it. It doesn't matter if it's not perfect, because if they like the work you do, they're not going to care.
Exactly. I mean, with my mobile stuff, I've got my drawers that has all my supplies in it, and it has a table that detaches, so I can take that with me if I need it. And then I've got stuff to do pedicures that I could take with me as well. So it's really cool.
Yeah, I mean, anything you can think of to set yourself up is great. Exactly that. You need your products, and maybe a table. Hey, a lot of the time, if you're going to be doing things mobile and you're okay to work in other people's spaces, then you just make it work. You figure it out as you do it, because in the end, it is all practice and experience, and it is all getting your name out.
Exactly.
Like, I wouldn't recommend it because it will hurt your back over time, but honestly, the number of other people's tables that I have done nails over, like, you just make it work.
Well, I started my training at our round kitchen table, and that was horrible.
So did I. Round kitchen table, leaning over it, no armrest, just a towel up. But hey, it did the job. Look at where we are now.
Exactly.
Whatever gets you there.
Yep.
Moose, you had a thought a second ago and then you stopped yourself.
Yes, I can't remember what it was.
Okay, cool.
Sorry.
Like, of course, we're going to one up and we're going to improve it and be more professional and be more hygienic and all the things, but you just have to get started. I think one of the things as well, I've talked about this with Mel on the podcast before, that like, and also let me say as well, that again, how when Alicia and I were talking about hustle hours just before, if you don't want to do it, like you don't want to work from 9 till 5, that's fine, don't. But just don't also come and tell us that you're like giving up because nobody wanted to book with you, or like, yeah, don't complain about it. Just own the fact that you didn't want to, because that's okay in whatever season of life you're in. But one thing that I have talked about with Mel before, not like we had a conversation about it, not like I needed to tell Mel because she's a like salon extraordinaire and just had so many clients when she was open, but we would say like, well, okay, if when people say, well, I haven't had time, because oh my gosh, we get told that a lot, like they sign up for something like the client magnet or the free launch pad, or they sign up for a course or whatever, and they go like, oh, well, I just haven't had time. Let's take Theory of Nails as an example, right? Like that's our prerequisite course, theory-based course that we offer. And we have had some people take an entire year and then run out of time and re-enroll. Fine. Not going to judge whatever season of life that you were in at that time. We have had other people with no experience watch everything, take notes, and pass the exam 3 days after enrolling. Like, it is not a long course unless you are mentally not in the space to take in theory information, which I'm currently re-editing theory videos, and I can relate because it's taking me weeks to edit each one because it's boring and I don't want to do it. But what Mel and I were saying way back when was, if a client had walked up to the door, knocked on the door and been like, can you do a gel manicure right now? You would have found the time. So like if you would have found the time to do a client, you can find the time to do your marketing. Like all the people that are like, well, I have a plan and you gave me advice and I was going to do, like, for example, last episode I was saying to Crystal to clear out Instagram and spend time engaging with people. If someone can turn around and say like, oh, well, I didn't have time to clear out my Instagram or engage with people. Well, actually, the clear out probably would have taken 15 minutes, and I'm not using Crystal as a specific example. I don't know what she did with her Instagram since that conversation.
Did you clear it out?
Because I was just like, that was a specific task I could talk about, not Crystal specifically, but yeah, like if clearing it out would take say 15 minutes, and then engaging with people say 5 minutes a day. So in a week, 7 times 35 minutes, we're up to just under an hour for that entire task. Okay, but if someone had knocked on the door and wanted to get you to do a gel manicure that took an hour, you would have found time. You would have said, okay.
It's because that's the fun stuff.
But you get to do more of the fun stuff if you do the work.
I know.
And I'm not targeting you specifically
No.
at all. But like, there's just such a large number of people that you're like, okay, if someone had knocked on the door, you would have been like, okay, like, hubby, take the kids, I've got a client. Or like, I need to cancel this thing, I've got a client. Or I can't commit to that, I've got a client. The groceries will wait, I've got a client. Like, I will put down my doom scrolling, I've got a client. And yeah, but so if you if it was a client, you would have made the time. If you want a client, you're going to have to make the time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think the thing that makes it like feel a bit different is that if someone comes, like if you have a client, you have that like obvious feeling of pressure, like they're there, I have to actually do their nails. But also like there is pressure that you want people to come, right? So if you can use that to kind of motivate you, that can be a little bit helpful, but it just
Being
doesn't feel
anxious,
quite the same.
the same.
Yeah.
I mean, again, like the admin stuff, sure, it might be boring, but like, just don't complain. I know I'm complaining about the complainers, but like, and you guys are none of the people that have ever had these comments, but it's when people get disheartened, I'm like, okay, cool, what'd you do about it? Nothing. Didn't have time, didn't want to, didn't know how. Like, okay, that's fine. Just own it though. I get so frustrated with people not owning it and going like Crystal just now. Okay, but that's not fun. Okay, great, cool. Like, so you haven't done everything you could have done because it's not fun and it doesn't motivate you. Great. But Crystal's not also sitting here being like, I don't have any clients. She's like, okay, cool. Okay, that kind of flows into something that I was talking about with someone the other day. So, okay, do you guys know about attachment styles?
Yes.
I know.
Somewhat.
I know I've got the bad one.
Crystal, did you say yes or no?
I said kind of.
Okay, there is no bad one. But so attachment styles, it's a relationship thing, right? And I was talking to someone, actually, I'll just say it was Hannah, the other day about training because she's educating now because she's fully qualified, and the stuff that she first qualified in, she qualified in like a couple of years ago, right? So that stuff that she has a couple of years experience in, she is now mentoring. And but so anyways, the conversation that I'll talk about in a second, but the conversation made me think of attachment styles, and that the way that we act with clients and with students if we're an educator is really similar to attachment styles, which are relationship things. So like, I am not a psychologist, by no means an expert, but the general gist of attachment styles is that you can have someone who is securely attached, and secure attachment is just like, so like, say for example, if you're dating and someone's like, hey, I don't think we're a match, you're like, okay. Like, you don't care because you know that your worth is not in that person's opinion of you. And like, if like, basically secure is just like, I'm whole on my own, and if someone is with me, they're a bonus. Then you have anxious attachment, which, and I'm sure, but if we had any audience of psychology, they could all comment and be like, that's wrong. But like, this is what I understand. Then you have anxious attachment, which are people that basically put all of their worth in the opinion of the other person. So they are coming, like, say if the person they're dating says like, I can't see you tonight, they will panic and be like, well, how do I fix that? How do I make you like me more? Or they say like, oh, well, I don't know where this is going. And they get like, they're that person, that the stage 5 clinger, the person that's like, no, like the person, the friend that we all have who will send 20 texts in a row being like, why aren't you picking up the call? Like, that is someone who is anxiously attached. And then you have avoidantly attached, which has subtypes, but because this is not a psychology podcast, I'll just sum them all together. That avoidantly attached are people who will like seek solace, like their solution to things is not to attach more, like the anxious, it's to attach less. Like, this is hard, so I'm gonna back off, and I'm gonna like take time to myself, and I'm gonna text you tomorrow, and I'm just gonna stop this difficult thing. And like, they're the people that might run away from a relationship because it got to the hard part, and so they just give up and stop. Or just in an argument, they're the person that's going to go for a walk and not like keep the argument going. Like, yeah, so that, and under avoidant, there's subcategories, like, because ultimately no one's born like this. Like, you're born securely if you were born and nothing ever happened to you, you would be securely attached. But like right from being a baby, things can form to make you either anxious and want to attach more, or avoidant and want to attach less in bad times. So anyways, I was talking to Hannah about training inquiries, and I was like, oh my goodness, she's anxiously attached to her trainees. Okay, so what triggered it was because Katie from Prim and Proper, who also mentors for us, Anna from Nail Art NZ mentors for us, Erin, who has mentored for Monaco for years and now also mentors under her Little Moon brand, and then Alicia, like we have all these people who everyone was getting sign-ups, and Hannah, to be fair, got all the first inquiries, like all of that, and then her inquiries weren't transferring to sales as much as she wanted them to. Let me be very clear. I think Hannah's doing great. Alicia's in all the group chats with Hannah, and I bet your bottom dollar that Alicia will say the same thing.
She is. She's doing a lot better with everything than I am. I'm trying to keep on top of it all.
But like, so then I said to, so Hannah was feeling like some kind of way about not having had as many signups as she felt like she wanted to have. And I said, first of all, you've got to forget that, like, you are forgetting that all of these other people have established brands that they have built over years and years and years. But actually, the biggest thing I think is mindset, because what triggered this for Hannah is an inquiry the night before where she had immediately private messaged me saying, like, what discounts would we offer? And I was like, none, we're not a discount brand. Like once a month, I will give the training partners like little trigger things to like ways that they can add value or something they can promote for the month. But I was like, we wouldn't do a discount. And she was like, okay, but like, isn't it better to do a discount? Because then we at least get some money. And like, if she gets lots of modules, then we get lots of money and she would be more likely to do lots of modules. And I was like, no, because we're not a discount brand. If you want to offer her a discount, it's coming out of your pay. And I said to her, like, I guarantee that someone like Caitlin or like Alicia or whatever, not all the time, not perfectly, but all of these people are going into a lead or it can be a client inquiry, a training inquiry, whatever, but they're going into it with the subconscious mentality of, well, they want me or they don't. And I think that the person who is considering booking with you, be it for training or for nails, can feel that. So like, if we take it from a client perspective, if you, after all this time, like I will sometimes take things personally for sure, but if someone calls me and says like, okay, just before we started recording this podcast, one of my clients for Thursday messaged and said, can you cancel my appointment? And I went back and went, yep, everything okay? And they went, yep, just can't do Thursday. I thought I booked it for Friday. And I said, okay, cool. Do you want me to rebook you? I do have like 3:00 on Friday or whatever it was. And she was like, nah, I actually can't do that either. Okay, cool. And I know that it's not a reflection of me. Like, I gave her, even if it was something that I did wrong, I asked if everything was okay, which means I gave her the opportunity to rectify the situation. She says there was no situation. Great. I'm just going to have to trust that. But someone who was like anxiously attached to their clients would be like, I've done something wrong. It's definitely because of me. I've effed it up. Like, her nails must have all fallen off. Like, she mustn't have liked me. The salon wasn't good enough. Like, that would be anxiously attached. And then, yeah, I don't know. Is this making sense at all? Like, it just clicked in my brain when I was talking to Hannah.
It is making sense, totally. And like, I get what you're saying because I totally have that mindset of just they're going to come or they're not. And in the end, people are going to go to who they want to go to, no matter what you do. If they found someone who's like right around the corner from their house or does a service that you don't offer, then in the end, they're going to go to that person. Even if you were a great experience, they may have just found something more suitable to them. It doesn't mean they found someone better or things just aren't working for them. Like a lot of the time, I find clients don't want to talk to you about financial situation, and that is totally okay. But if they need a break because they can't afford it, again, we're not a necessity, you know. We can't force that work to come through the door. And I think going back to like the education side of things, I actually had a consultation a couple of weeks ago with a young girl I know. I think she's about 17 or 18. And her mum was sitting there going, this training is going to be great for you. I have the money saved. I think this is going to be awesome for you. But it was definitely more the mum trying to get her into something than I think her wanting to do it herself. And I just said to them at the end, I said, look, have a think on it. We're running our Black Friday deals. This is when the special runs out. I'm not going to pressure you. I'll give you a message in a few days and see how you're feeling. If you're not keen on it, it doesn't matter. Like, because in the end, that, you know, what can you do? Whereas, yeah, getting emotionally attached just makes life harder for everyone.
Yeah.
And everybody likes, like, in dating, like, everyone's going to hear about a stage 5 clinger, right? Like, nobody actually wants that. If someone wants someone who's super, super, super clingy and texts all the time and calls all the time, blah, 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 chances are they're probably also anxiously attached. And there's just this, like, anxious, codependent relationship happening there. But realistically, no one actually wants that. You want to feel safe, secure, independent, like, you know. So if you take it back to clients, then they want to have that same thing. They're going to pick up if you're like, okay, but like, because the thing with Hannah and this trainee, the trainee had not said anything about not being able to afford it. She was just already assuming they wouldn't want to enroll at the full price with her, with what she offers. They might not want to enroll. And I said to her, like, we teach in Salon Success Accelerator, don't project your budget onto someone else, because that's what students of all of our courses do often, is assume that clients can't afford something if they can't afford it. And it's okay, but are you your target market? Because for me, I would not prioritize the amount of money my clients spend on nails on my own nails. But the people who are in my current situation with my current budget are not who I would be seeking out as clients. If they filter through to me, great. I want them to be aware of me, so next year when they have the budget, they do come to me. But at the end of the day, like the lady with the plants that I talked about at the top of the episode, she comes to me 3 weekly for her nails, has done for years. And at one point I think I've talked about this maybe, but she prepaid a bunch of appointments because I had said that I like was trying to save for something or whatever it was. She was like, oh, well, what if I just prepay for enough appointments that you can pay for that? And I was like, no, it's fine. And she was like, Penny, I've made my money. It's sitting there. I'm not going to not come for nails. Let me prepay it. You don't have to save. You don't have to stress. You can have the thing tomorrow. And I was like, okay. So I sold her a voucher, like we did it as a voucher, sold her a voucher for like $400 or $500. And then she just like used the voucher for the next few months. And that's there's people out there that she worked really hard. She's retired. And in her words, she's made her money. It's all just sitting there. She has residuals from her rental properties and stuff like that, if that's the right word. But yeah, we can't project our budget onto other people or project like our tastes, because we're judging the space that we're in. We're judging the quality of our work. We're judging how much we're charging. But actually, we don't know what other people are seeing through their own eyes, kind of thing. Yeah, and just like that, we shouldn't go into something assuming someone doesn't want us. And I think that is what a lot of people listening are doing. Like Hannah with that one trainee, and she's had other signups. She knows people will do it. But yeah, Hannah with one trainee just assuming that they wouldn't want to pay full price for a course. Whereas the thing is, if I went to sign up for a course and someone, you can feel that energy. I'm going to be like, I don't know, I didn't feel right. But if I go to sign up for a course and they're like, okay, cool, it's this much money, blah, blah, blah. Even if I can't afford it, like if I walked in and someone was like, I'm going to teach you just gel manicures, it'll be $20,000. I can't afford that, and I don't think that's worth it for me personally. But if I walked in and if I didn't know, like if I was, FYI, if you're a newbie and you're listening, like this is exorbitantly exaggerated for effect. So you're not thinking like, wait, is that how much it costs? No, my point is that it does not cost that much. But if I walked in somewhere and I was like, hey, I want to know about your courses. And they were like, great, have a seat. So this is what we do. This is how long it takes. We're going to teach you gel manicures. You're going to be amazing at the end. It's going to take us 2.5 hours. And those 2.5 hours are going to be $20,000. I would be like, thank you so much. Have a nice day. Like, see you later. However, let me tell you, and some of you might think this is just me being gullible, and obviously I am greatly exaggerating the speed of the course and the cost of the course for effect. But if I walk in and someone confidently says, this 2.5 hour course is worth $20,000, I'm going to be like, they must be really good.
Yeah.
I'm going to assume and believe what they tell me. If someone says, I am so good, like you get it with all the American marketing courses and stuff where they're like, you can have a bunch of videos from a famous podcaster for 10 grand. And then every one of their launches, they are making like hundreds of thousands, if not $1 million from one launch of their course. And people all around the world are like, here is $10,000 for your carefully curated set of videos. Which, like, I'm not, no shade. I've done some of those courses, not the 10 grand ones, but I've done two. I did a $2,000 one and I did a $4,000 one, and both of them, incredible. Like, absolutely, they were worth it. But when you hear someone on a podcast saying, like, this course is going to be like, it's so incredible, blah, 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 and then you click it and it's 10 grand, never once have I been like, ew, like, that's disgusting. In my brain, I'm like, holy shit, I can't afford that. But like, and I know some people out there are trolls in the comments being like, ew, that's so overpriced. I would never pay that, because we see them in like all over. I think Maddie Cured has been having like, she's been putting reels up with her pricing lately and then like doing troll response videos because of all the people being like, that's disgusting pricing. Like, no. When a nail tech says this is a $700 set of nails, which is not what she said, I'm thinking of a different person now who will be like, would you pay $700 for the set? And it's like stunning. When someone says this set of nails is worth $700, I'm like, okay, cool. I can't afford that, but like, good for you. You believe what someone tells you. So if we're out there going into a meeting or taking bookings or marketing our salon, feeling like no one wants us, I guess it's probably manifesting. Like, you're just making it happen.
Totally. I mean, when I raised my prices a couple months back, again, just a confidence thing, I was not concerned about people paying the prices. I was concerned about the time that they were sitting down, because we did a change up of services where they're more expensive, but, you know, there's something added on to the end or whatever. And I was more concerned about people's time because, you know, people pop out on their lunch breaks and do this. And I was going, well, you know, this is the price. If they like the work, they're going to pay it. But, you know, I was going, oh my gosh, they're going to have the time to sit here for an extra half an hour or whatever it was, you know? And it's totally a confidence thing. I never had any complaints about putting prices up. Yes, I had a couple of people drop off, and that was absolutely fine because it didn't work for them, but that doesn't mean it doesn't work for other people.
I guess it goes back to like, different people having different priorities, and that you can't actually like read people's minds to figure out what their priorities are. You have to like offer what you're offering and find a way to get it out to the people who like do suit you.
You're right about the not being able to mind read thing, because like so often I don't know, like even just in friendships and stuff, we'll be like, I think she thought this. And then you'll have a talk about it 6 months later and they'll be like, what?
It's so easy to make little judgments like that. Like if you see someone in public and you know them, but they didn't say hi, you might be like, oh, they're angry at me. But really, maybe they just didn't even notice you because they have something else on in their mind and they're really stressed about something. Or there's so many alternative options, but it's very easy to think something is about you or something that you're doing when it's actually not always.
Yeah, like I had a friend's daughter here while her mum was at work yesterday, and I had just one of those days where I ended up so dysregulated. Like I could feel myself snapping at the dogs, being feeling impatient at situations, not necessarily actively exhibiting it because I had a child here and I was being really careful, but yeah, I could feel myself super dysregulated. And there was one point where she asked me a question and I was like, I felt snappy in my answer. And then I said to her mum later, I hope she didn't think I was too grumpy. And she was like, she didn't really notice, but I felt like in the moment she would think I was snapping at her. No, it actually literally had nothing to do with her. It just the dogs wouldn't stop barking at stuff all day. They just were off. That was annoying me. I think I was waiting for a reply on a stressful email. It was just a bunch of crap. And I just got to the point where I felt pulled in too many directions and it snapped into a dysregulation spiral.
Yeah.
It was nothing to do with her, but she's who, when she asked me a question, I was like, no. And that's all it was. It literally was just me answering too quickly. But yeah, and you said as well, Moose, you never know what someone's priorities are. I'm trying really hard to change my wording when I say to people I can't afford stuff, because it's not that I can't afford it, it's that thing they want is not my priority right now.
Yeah.
Which made me think, because of the same kid, I was like, she wanted to bake and I was like, yeah, sure. And then in my head later, I saw so she used most of the butter and stuff like that. And I was like, in my head, she'd already gone home. But in my head, I was like, fuck, I can't, that was my butter for butter is expensive now. If you're overseas listening to this, you would not believe the price of food here post pandemic and recession. But so I was looking at what was left being fuck, that was my butter for a fortnight. I can't afford that. And then I was like, well, actually, I can afford it. It's just that I'm really trying to hit big goals that we talked about last week. So it's not a priority to me to buy 2 blocks of butter in 1 week. But yeah, I wouldn't want to ever say, I have personal opinions on talking about budgeting and stuff around kids anyway, but I wouldn't have wanted to say to her no, I can't afford that.
Yeah.
Because it's not actually true. And that kind of that's just what went in my head when Moose said you don't know someone's priorities.
And some people prefer for me, I do my own nails, but I'll spend a shit ton of money on my hair because that's what I like having done. We all have different things that we prioritize. And you just have to find those people that are going to prioritize your services because, you do a good job and you make them feel comfortable and they like coming in and having a chat with you.
Yeah. All right. Tying this up in a bow, Crystal, I'm going to pick on you first. What is your number one takeaway from all of our rants today? Did anything resonate?
Sometimes you have to do the crappy stuff to get the good stuff.
That was not directed at you.
No, I know, but I do sometimes need that push to do the background stuff to get the fun stuff. So
yeah, and it is sometimes very boring.
Yeah.
What about you, Moose? What's going to be your biggest takeaway from this?
I think the thing that kind of resonated the most is the part we were just talking about having judgments about what people are thinking, and like reading minds and like assuming, yeah, everything's about me. I definitely think like I need to do a bit of like work on that. Because feeling like that is kind of just a pain to like have to get through. Like I don't want to feel like bad about doing nails when I didn't actually do a bad job.
Yeah.
So I think like focusing on that and taking things at like face value instead of trying to decide for other people how they feel.
I'm going back to Penny's lovely rant on attachment styles. If that made any sense to anyone. Made sense to me. I think that's exactly it. Having confidence. If it's going to work out, it's going to work out. If it's not, don't push it. It's just a time waster on both ends. I think you need to promote what you can do. And if someone's not going to go for it, just let it be.
Well, Amy Porterfield, who's one of those podcasters with a crazy expensive course or crazy high-priced course. Expensive is a judgment, and I don't know how good it is. So it probably is worth crazy money. But Amy Porterfield says you only have to be 10% better than someone else to offer them value.
That's a very good point.
Honestly, like I've brought it up on the podcast before. I brought it up in training before. It is like fast becoming one of my actual like life mottos. You only have to be 10% better to be of value. And maybe if you are only 10% better, maybe you are not of high value yet, but you're still of value.
That's a great takeaway.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep that in mind.
It's a pretty good thing.
I think I need to write that on a post-it and stick it on the wall.
Yeah, honestly, because it applies to like everything, really. And sometimes that 10% isn't even that you are 10% more skilled than someone. It's that you have 10% more mental capacity today.
Just to listen or, have a nice environment or.
Yeah, exactly. Alrighty, that seems like a nice place to leave it with that done and dusted. Before you disappear, like our page or follow the podcast so that you don't miss the next episode. We'll be back next week. But until then, check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube by searching Monaco Nail Academy. You can also send us voice notes to be featured on the podcast at speakpipe.com/salon success, or you can follow our salons.
Mine is Straight Up Nails NZ.
Mine is Crystal Blythe Nail Artist, and that is spelled CHRISTELBLYTH, and obviously nail artist is just normal. So,
and I'm at Moo Cat Nails.
And I'll pop in as well that if you want to do training in Auckland specifically, you can go to monaco.ac.nz/Alicia to see what Alicia's up to and to see her lovely new commercial space. And I didn't even say my salon, which is Hard Lacquer NZ. But either way, there's a bunch of stuff. Now go and clear out your Instagrams, guys. Have a great week, and we'll see you next time.
bye.
Bye.